Have you ever had people in your life who loved you, but they still did not really know how to help you? Maybe they cared. Maybe they prayed. Maybe they checked in. But what you were carrying was heavier, more complicated, or more detailed and specific than friendship alone could hold. And when we do not have safe people around us, we can end up carrying everything alone, or giving deep access to whoever seems available. But availability is not the same as safety. Today, we are talking about the gift of friendship, the wisdom of support, and how to ask, what tools do I need for this season, and who is safe and equipped to help me? Welcome to A Cup of Hope, the podcast for women ready to create clarity and confidence in their life and money. I'm your host, Sherry Lynn, a life and money coach and your hope-filled strategist. Each week, we'll talk about the messy middle of life, faith, finances, freedom, and finding your purpose, all with truth, encouragement, and practical tools that you can use today. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to A Cup of Hope. I'm Sherry Lynn, and I'm so glad you're here. Over the last couple of episodes, we have been talking about what happens when life feels heavy, when we feel alone, when we feel unseen, and when support really matters. In my conversation with Terry Tellerson, we touched on what it means to rebuild after devastation and how powerful it is to be seen and supported. And I mentioned that we would come back to this idea of safe people and community. So today, we are taking that next step and asking, what kind of support do I actually need in this season? And here's today's cup of hope. There is safety in wise support. There is also safety in not expecting one person to carry what was never meant to be carried by a single person. Friendship is a gift. It really, truly is. Good friends are one of God's most beautiful blessings to us. Good friends can pray, encourage, just listen, show up, and offer wise counsel. But friends were never meant to provide every kind of support we may need in every season of our lives. Some seasons require additional tools, more wisdom, or additional support. And that does not mean our friends have failed us. It means that we need to learn what our season requires. Proverbs 11:14 says, "Without wise leadership, a nation falls. There is safety in having many advisors." Friends, there is safety in wise support. There is safety in not expecting one person to carry what was never meant to be carried by one person. This past weekend, my kids were in town and helped me with a big project. We replaced the decking boards and rebuilt the steps on my deck. Before we could just jump in and start working, we had to assess the situation. The foundation of the deck was still good. Therefore, we did not need to tear the whole thing down and start over. But the decking boards did need to be replaced, and the steps needed to be rebuilt. That mattered, because if the foundation had been bad, that would have required a whole lot more. We would have needed more tools, more skills, definitely more time, and probably additional help. But because the foundation was still solid, we could focus on what actually needed repair. And I think this is such a great picture for life. When something happens, loss, divorce, betrayal, financial stress, a diagnosis, parenting challenges, chronic illness, or simply feeling worn down from carrying way too much for far too long, we often want to rush straight into fixing it. But sometimes the first and most wise step is to stop and assess. What is still solid? What actually needs repair? What tools and resources do I already have? What tools or resources do I need? Who is safe and equipped to help me with this? Friend, this is not weakness, but it is wisdom. It is also showing a growth mindset. Instead of sighing and saying, I should already know how to handle this, we can say, what can I learn and what do I need? What support would help me grow through this instead of just survive it? You see, different wounds require different support. A woman walking through grief may need friends who can just sit with her, and she may also need a good grief support group. A woman walking through a divorce may need trusted friends, and she may also need legal guidance, financial help, counseling, or therapy, a group like Divorce Care. A mom parenting a child with chronic medical needs definitely needs friends, and she probably needs other moms who understand the specific road that she is walking. A woman walking through betrayal of her spouse needs safe friends, and she may need specialized support where she does not have to explain why the pain feels so disorienting. And a woman facing financial stress may need encouragement, but she may also need education and someone to help her make a plan. This does not make friendship less valuable. It just means friendship is not the only kind of support. Think about it this way. If your tooth hurts, a friend can drive you to the dentist, she can sit in the waiting room, she can pray for you, and she can bring you soup afterward. That is a beautiful friendship. But a wise friend will not pretend to be your dentist unless she actually is trained as a dentist. And the same thing can be true with our hearts, our minds, our marriages, our families, our grief, our money, and our healing. Wise friends can absolutely offer wise counsel. They can pray, listen, speak truth, ask questions, and help us see what we cannot see. But part of wise counsel is knowing when more tools are needed. Sometimes a wise friend says, I love you, and I think this is bigger than what I know how to help with. This is not abandonment. It is wisdom, and it is love with humility. We need the right people with the right tools in the right seats. A wise support system is not just one person who possesses every tool we might need. It is the right people with the right tools at the right time. One friend may be your person to call for prayer. Another may be the person who is great at helping with practical needs. A counselor may be able to help you process grief, trauma, or pain. A coach may be able to help you make a plan and then take that next wise step. A support group may give you a group of people who understand the road that you are walking. These are not in competition with each other. They are simply different people in different seats. And it's important to note that a safe person can still be in the wrong seat. Some people may be safe for prayer, but not details. Some people may be safe for practical help, but not emotional processing. Some people may be safe for encouragement, but not decision making. It requires discernment. Not every safe person needs every detail. And not every loving person needs the same level of access to our heart. Even Jesus modeled different levels of access. He loved people perfectly, but everyone did not have the same level of closeness. There were the crowds, the disciples, the 12, the moments where there was just Peter, James, and John. And then there was the one, the intimacy that Jesus had with his Father. You see, different levels of access are not unloving. They are wise. So we can ask, who needs to know about my pain? What do they need to know? Why do they need to know? Are they safe? Are they equipped? What level of access should they have in my life right now? And here's one more thing. An online community can be a beautiful bridge, but it was never meant to be everything. We also need what I like to call kneecap-to-kneecap people. Just people that we can sit with. They can sit across the table from us. They can grab our hands and pray. These are the people who can drive us to the hospital or come to our house and watch our kids. People who can sit in the waiting room or show up in real life. And if you do not have that right now, I am not saying this to shame you. Online may be where you begin, but I want to encourage you, do not stop there. Sometimes safe friendship begins in a structured place, like a Bible study, a support group, maybe a recovery group, a class, a ministry that you do together, or a coaching group. Recently, I had the opportunity to hear a panel of women talk about adult friendship that spans the years. And one of the things that stood out to me was that their friendship began with a structured activity and a commitment to keep showing up, even when they did not always feel like it. As I listened, I realized that this is part of what happened in my own life too. Some of my closest friends came through Bible study and ministry. We are all in different stages of life. We are different ages, but over time, we have studied scripture together, prayed together, shared meals, celebrated birthdays, and just walked through real life together. The friendship and connection was not instant, but it was intentional, and it grew through consistent showing up. That encourages me because safe friendship does not always start with instant connection. Sometimes it starts with a commitment to showing up. So here is your one last sip for today. You do not need one person who possesses all the tools to be your everything. That is only Jesus. You do need the right kind of support for the weight you are carrying. Friendship is a gift, my friends. These wise friends can pray, encourage, listen, speak truth, and sometimes help us see when more support is needed. And that takes humility. As women, many of us have learned to keep things all together, help everyone else first, and act like we should not have needs of our own. But the humility to recognize our humanity, that, my friend, is the real strength. Pride is the real weakness. Pride says, I should be able to do this all by myself. But wisdom says, God did not create me to carry everything alone. So here's today's cup of hope. You were not created to carry it all alone. As we grow deeper together this week, I want to challenge you to take 5 quiet minutes and assess your support system with curiosity, not shame. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I carrying right now? What kind of support or tools or resources might be helpful in this season? And who is one safe person or resource I can reach out to this week? This may be texting a friend, looking up a support group online, asking for prayer, scheduling a session with a counselor, reaching out to a coach, or simply admitting, I need more tools in my tool belt for this season of life. Do not try to fix everything today. Choose one wise next step. That, my friend, is growth. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining me today on A Cup of Hope. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend and subscribe so you never miss an episode? You'll find today's resources and next steps in the show notes. Until next time, I'm Sherry Lynn, and I want you to remember this. Hope is always available, and your next step matters, because God can take the broken pieces of your story and create something more beautiful than you could ever imagine.